Okay, we'll finish off the next little section here. So we run into this image and then another well. So that's going to be pretty easy to pull off because the code is almost the exact same as we have. So we'll come down to our aside. I'm just going to copy the image and well and hit return and just paste. And the only difference is this image is different. So I'll just come in here and find out what our second one is. It's just featured image 2. So we'll paste in that file name there and save and come back and refresh. And now we have that second one in there. Maybe I want to add some space definitely between these, so I could adjust the margins, or I could simply just throw in a break tag in between those to push those two down a little bit. Maybe I want to add maybe 2 breaks, push those down a hair more. Okay, the last part we want to do inside of here is to finish off, back to our Photoshop mockup, finish off this last little, what we're going to call the testimonial section. So let's it has another header 3 just like we have up here. So that one shouldn't be too difficult to pull off. So we'll just copy this header 3 and paste it down here and call this testimonial. And we'll refresh there. And again, maybe we want to add a break tag in between those two, or we could add some margins or padding. And back to our Photoshop mockup, let's take a look at how this is looking. So it looks like we have right inside of this area, of course, we would put a little avatar or a picture of the person that gave us the testimonial. And then we have a few little info about them and then their actual testimonial. So let's go ahead and build that. So we're going to have an image tag. So we'll say image source equals. Now this image tag isn't going to exist right now because I don't have a black image. I don't think we saved that one out earlier. Yeah, we didn't save a black image to fill that in. So maybe in the meantime, we'll just leave this blank, but we'll just give it a width and a height, which will kind of make it a little filler. Actually, let's see how big that's supposed to be. Let's grab our marquee and kind of measure this. So it looks like it's maybe 60 by 60. We'll just kind of guess really quick. So 60 and height equals 60. And then after that, it looks like we have a couple of elements here. We have the title, a subtitle, and then a little bit of a URL. So as far as which code we use or which tags we use to designate this, you just want to pick the most semantic tags. And if you use micro formats, there's probably a few we can use here, but we haven't gotten into the advanced micro formats, so we'll just stick to our regular old tags we've learned. So I'm just going to set the first one up in a strong tag, which is basically going to make this bold. And this is going to be Jane Doe. Let's save and refresh this and see kind of where we're at. So you can see that image does in fact lay out there. We have our Jane Doe, and below our Jane Doe, we'll just do a break tag here, and we'll say this person is the director of directing. And we'll do a break tag, and then we'll do a link, so an href equals, and we'll just do a # www.mywebsite.com. Close the anchor tag. So let's save that and come in here and refresh. So that's looking pretty good. Maybe we want to do 2 break tags between those latter two to kind of replicate what we've got going on here in Photoshop. And then we need to take this image and float this image left as well. So let's go ahead and set this up. Now I'm going to put all of this testimonial code, if you will, inside of a div. So I'll create a div and I'll close this div. Whoops, tab that over, and then all this code should be, tabbed over once. And I'll just call this class equals testimonial. Just in case we had multiple testimonials, we could easily just apply this class to get the formatting we want inside of here. So let's kind of refresh in here. So there's our testimonial div. And the last thing that needs to go inside of this is the actual testimonial. And we're going to put this inside of a block quote. We could put inside of a paragraph or a cite tag. There's a few other tags that could also be used for this. And we'll just grab this lorem ipsum text down here for this lovely quote. and paste it inside of there, and finally come back and refresh, save and refresh. Okay, so that's most of the HTML for our little testimonial. Now we'll just kind of do a little bit of work with CSS to get this exactly how we want it. So back to our CSS, remember we have this class as testimonial, which we're going to be able to use. So down here to the very bottom, we'll say .testimonial, and let's start to write the CSS to space out some of these elements. Okay, so let's add, the first rule is actually going to be for the image. So we'll say testimonial image, and we need to float this image left so that all those other pieces wrap around it. So we'll do that, save and refresh here. And you can see now all the text here is up where it's supposed to be, and we probably want to pad those a little bit. So we'll add some padding -right, maybe 10 pixels of padding there, so it's not right against our image. And that's pretty much it. Let's just add a break tag, another break tag after this, oops, down here at the bottom. Inside of our block quote, we can just do a break tag to kind of push that guy down. We could use padding and margins as well instead of break tags. And maybe we want this testimonial text is a little bit too big, so we want to come back here to our CSS and let's do another rule here. And we want the .testimonial block quote. We want the font size to maybe be 0.7 ems, and we want this to be italics, so font style. Make that italicized, and that's looking pretty good. I'd probably say decrease all of that. So I might bump this one up to 0.8, and because these things will inherit, whoops, make the entire testimonial. I guess I can just copy this, do a new CSS rule for the entire testimonial, and give it a font size of 0.9. So that this text is a little bit smaller and then this is a little smaller. So that's a little bit closer. And then we can play around with the size here of our image. Maybe this thing's going to be 90 by 90. I think a common size for avatar is maybe 98 or 92. I don't recall. Maybe it's 72. But anyway, we can play around with the size of that image to fit into our layout there. And that's our testimonial section. So we have our sidebar most of the way fleshed out. We could adjust some of the spacing around these elements a little bit, but that's the basics for the sidebar.